Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. 1. Sergey Kovalev is now a champion again. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We work in ESPN Plus. Watch the main event. I actually watched most of the card. Teofimo Lopez looked great. Got another stoppage against Magdaleno. Brutal stuff. Double left hook. Had a double up. He had a double tap on the trigger. Right. Richard Comey became a champion in the lightweight division. It looks like he might fight Lomachenko next. Now let's talk about the main event. Sergey Kovalev versus Eleider Alvarez. And I know some of you guys are happy because the moment has arrived. I was wrong. Now, what I was wrong at, I didn't do an official prediction, but I thought Eleider Alvarez was going to retain his belt. I wasn't sold that Kovalev was going to be the same fighter, and I felt that there were enough of his flaws shown in his 3 losses and just other fights where a good game plan would, Alvarez would beat him. So I was thinking Alvarez was going to win via late stoppage. However, that did not happen. What did happen is Sergey Kovalev impressed me. He boxed well. Him and Buddy McGurk were cooking up. Shout out to Kovalev for the performance. Whether you like the person or, he has some other things outside of the ring that need to be taken into consideration for him as a person. But I'm just talking solely about his boxing performance. Him and Buddy McGurk, like I said, they were cooking up. He fought well. He had a great jab. I give him some more mental points that he had lost because I feel like he made a lot of excuses, but he didn't make any excuses here. He went to the drawing board, fired his old coach and found one that, worked out with him. And Buddy McGurk, the reason I'm giving him some credit too is because this was the guy coaching. And Buddy McGurk, being a former fighter himself, the thing I really liked what he did with Kovalev is he didn't all the way alter who Kovalev is. Kovalev, the thing is, I've always said this, Kovalev can box and he has power. But, he was like mowing guys down, so he's feeling himself and stuff like that. And nothing was ever questioned until he lost, and then lost again. But he can box, and that's what Buddy McGurk had him doing. And I like and respect how Buddy McGurk gave the corner instructions. Very simple, very light, very easy to understand. And it kept Kovalev focused. Just box this guy. Touch, 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 touch. And there were some moments where it looked like Kovalev rocked Alvarez, who's tough, durable. So there were no knockdowns in this fight, anything like that. But that's what he needed to do for this opponent. This guy, it looks like he's big. He has a big back and stuff. He could box. He stopped you already. And I feel like Buddy McGurk, he was not just a coach, but he was also kind of like a motivator, similar to how you see Virgil Hunter. And I don't want to make it too Hollywood-like because, in Hollywood boxing movies, they make the motivational speeches like all like Teddy Atlas and stuff like that. But sometimes that's needed, and I think that's more so what was needed for Kovalev. Just touch, touch, touch. Don't look for the knockout. Don't worry about nothing. You have no one to impress. These are the types of things that Buddy McGurk was saying to his fighter, and it was true. Now, Alvarez, some people I've seen on Twitter, they were saying that this was a close fight. I don't know what they watched. I didn't really see all that. Look, I look at it like this. This was a Keith Thurman versus Josecito Lopez without that big, where Keith Thurman almost got knocked out. There was nothing like that climactic or dramatic, but it was a fight like Thurman Lopez to me, in the sense, not saying it looked the same as a fight, but the thing why it reminds me of a fight like that is it was competitive enough, but it was clear enough to see who was winning the rounds. That's why I don't see how this fight was close to many people. unless they have like kind of like a bias or, I don't like Kovalev because he's racist or he's a woman beater. You got to strip away all of that. And when you remove all that, I don't really even see this fight being all that close because Alvarez simply never got into a rhythm. He never offensively put it together like for longer than 5-6 seconds and let his hands go. Now, I think the game plan he was trying, I understood it. And it's been tried and tested and proven against a guy like Kovalev. We know Kovalev has stamina issues, and there's rumors that he drinks a lot. He got a lot of court dates and stuff probably in the back of his mind. He already got knocked out by this cat, right? So we know those things. He makes excuses. We know these things, but Alvarez didn't seize the moment. And if you guys follow my live tweets on Twitter when I do the round by round tweets, that's what I was saying. I fuck with the plan that Alvarez had. You're dealing with a heavy-handed guy, new trainer, boxing well. Stay relatively safe. Don't take too many chances and get caught cold or get caught with something, and then you get knocked out. So stay relatively safe. But around that round 5-6 mark, I feel like you have to turn it up. You did all this to conserve your energy. Meanwhile, Kovalev was winning the rounds and letting his hands go more, throwing more punches, tallying up. So if you're going to try this epic comeback, then you got to start, getting aggressive and take risk in those rounds and turn it up. Another thing Alvarez, to me, could have done is just more of a continued body work. He looked like he hurt Kovalev to the body, not like, like Andre Ward or maybe even how he did in the first fight, but Kovalev didn't look like he liked it. And I think that's a forever problem. You don't just change things in a 6 to 10 week camp and then you're just a brand new fighter. That's not how things work. But he just didn't, to me, Alvarez didn't have anything sustained enough to get anything going. And then you let a heavy-handed guy just pick at you and get off shots, hit and move, hit, jab. Kovalev has a really good jab, which we already knew. And before you know it, now, okay, so it's an accumulation. It's not like we're dealing, a guy who has light punching power, there could be an accumulation of punches that end up hurting you because if you're not defending against them, and it's a continued frustration that grows and builds, and all these punches added up, death by 1,000 cuts. So when you have somebody doing that like a Kovalev, who we know on the spectrum of light heavyweight power, he's killed a man. I'm not saying this facetiously or being funny. It's actual fact. He killed a man. So we're talking about a heavy-handed guy on top of that. You can't afford to just take too much. And, I understand Alvarez, he did a pretty good job blocking with his gloves and stuff like that, but you got to get something going. And I thought while he was, quote unquote, saving his energy, playing it safe, not taking risks in the first 4 or 5 rounds, he could at least been dedicated to the body. Just get those off as you can, and those stack up and pay dividends in the championship round. However, he just never, there was no moment where he really had much of a sustained attack. Even when he had Kovalev like temporarily buzzed or maybe even buckled or whatever, he didn't follow up with nothing. His jab was lazy. He didn't have a jab. He was just trying to come in. So I don't know. I don't really know what the Alvarez game plan. He looked like Josh Clottey versus Manny Pacquiao. How it looks like Josh Clottey had the ability to maybe beat Pacquiao, or at the very least have a good showing, because you look at Pacquiao's face at the end of the Clottey fight, Pacquiao's face looked pretty screwed up. He had a lot of bruising and marking, and Josh Clottey barely even threw any punches. And we know Josh Clottey had wars with like Miguel Cotto and stuff like that. So it appeared that Clottey could have done more in the Pacquiao fight, but for whatever reason, he decided not to. That's what this performance reminded me. It didn't look like Alvarez wanted to remain a champion. I seen no pep in his step, no sense of urgency, and nothing consistent. And against a veteran, guy with heavy hands, guy with the new training situation, and a guy not trying to take another L, because this could have been a wrap for Cole if he would have got stopped. This is what they're saying on the telecast. It might be done for you. This could be the last major fight that you have a ring walk for. So Kovalev knew there was a lot on the line. He held it together. He stayed composed. He even switched up his training camp. And I know I've given Kovalev shit in the past because I don't think he's the most mentally strong. I do think he's made some excuses, like in the war fights and the first Eleider Alvarez fight. But here tonight, he won all the way, and I don't even think it's disputable. I don't understand how people even had this fight particularly close. Again, Thurman versus Josecito Lopez. Close enough where you're not bored out of your gourd, you're not bored out of your wits, because there's enough like action. But it was the Kovalev show. Better game plan and a more consistent. Consistency is key. You got to be consistent in this game of boxing. Kovalev was that. Consistent with his jab. And to expose, I think Alvarez got gassed up from the first fight stopping him. Alvarez, that he looked at that fight and he looked at the war fight. But you have to understand, you still have to have a smart. I don't think it was anything wrong with the game plan. I think it was the execution. You just can't let a heavy-handed guy punch you for 7-8 rounds and then have this Rocky Balboa comeback. Because your energy level is now zapped because you got hit by big shots. You're letting him pick you off with the jab. You're blocking some of the punches with your gloves, but all that weight and the velocity of punches constantly, touching you and hitting you and targeting you, I'm sure it has some type of effect, whether they're landing flush or not. I'm sure shell up and then let somebody put you in a wall. That's just like hazing. You know how they do in like the military and stuff, how they had those real bad hazings. You could be in a defensive posture, but if people are beating the shit out of you, hazing you, or have a pillowcase with bars of soap and they're hitting you, even if you're blocking some of it, your arms are still going to be sore, and that's just the reality of it. Kovalev is a big puncher. I thought he looked good. He boxed well, and he extends his journey. That's what I feel about his performance. Kovalev as a person, on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. But here tonight, he did his thing. Congrats on the victory and regaining a championship belt. I was wrong. I thought Eleider Alvarez would probably stop him, and he showed he had more in the tank. Kovalev boxing like that and being smart. And see, this is the other thing. You can't bank on someone's flaw like Kovalev to fatigue when you're not doing anything that's going to make them fatigue even more, to accelerate. I watch a lot of forensic files, right? And the reason that the arson detectives and arson investigators know it was an arsonist as opposed to like natural cause, like, faulty wiring, the stove exploded or whatever, is because there are accelerants used, meaning gasolines and highly flammable liquids and chemicals that people, when they kill their wife or something in the house, and then they want to burn up the house thinking they're going to burn away all the evidence, they use an accelerant, like I said, like gasoline or whatever that's flammable, to expedite it so the house burns quicker, gets rid of all the evidence they think, etc. So when the arson detectives, the forensic detectives are on the scene, that's how they know, because they find trace elements of an accelerant that was used. Similar with boxing. The reason I'm talking about accelerants is because, yes, Kovalev, I still think he has stamina issues, but you got to use an accelerant to get him there. He's not just, he's a champion. I think now a 3-time champion. He's a vet. So he's not going to just fatigue on his own, because he's been, he went 12 rounds with a legend like Bernard Hopkins. That's because Hopkins didn't really do anything offensively to warrant him getting that tired. That's why we never seen it. See, people sleep on it. Andre Ward, he stopped Kovalev in the second fight because he was frustrating Kovalev. He made Kovalev move, and he had a great body attack and inside attack. That's what wore Kovalev down. I don't know what the hell Eleider Alvarez was doing. He was fighting pretty much flat-footed and taking the shots like Buddy McGurk was saying, just touch him, just bop, bop, bop. And over time, against a heavy-handed puncher, that's going to accumulate, and it's going to accumulate relatively fast. Now you trying to switch and do some different shit in round 7 to 8, you already tired, and you already like maybe even gun shy. You're like, damn, okay, he's hitting me with some pretty hard shots. I don't want to open up. So bottom line, Eleider Alvarez, I didn't see this really that close. Like the game plan, but around the midway, you gotta start taking some risks, and we didn't see that. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Kovalev on the performance and Buddy McGurk. And, you know, that's it. We'll be back with some more heat. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.